What if I told you that getting good with money has almost nothing to do with how smart you are and everything to do with how you behave? That's really the heart of Morgan Housel's book, The Psychology of Money. We're not talking about get-rich-quick schemes here. This is about building a totally different, healthier relationship with money, one that can actually change how you think about wealth, risk, and even happiness itself.
So here's the big idea right up front. Managing money well isn't about mastering the complex charts or formulas. It's a soft skill. And honestly, it has more to do with psychology than with math. You don't have to be a genius. You just have to understand your own emotions because how you behave is way more important than what you know.
Okay, so to get a handle on our own behavior, we first have to pull back the curtain and look at these hidden forces that are always at play in our financial lives. We almost never talk about them, but they can have a bigger impact than all the intelligence or effort in the world.
This story just says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got Ronald Reed, a janitor. He just quietly saved his money, invested it, and ended up with a fortune of over $8 million. Then on the other side, you have a top executive, Harvard-educated, every advantage you can imagine, who took on so much debt that he went completely bankrupt. The lesson here is so clear. It's not about who's smarter. It's about whose behavior, whose strategy was built to last.
And beyond just behavior, we have to talk about two things we tend to ignore: luck and risk. I mean, look at Bill Gates. Obviously a genius, right? But even he admits that going to one of the only high schools on the planet with a computer back in the 60s, that was a 1 in a million stroke of luck. But here's the flip side. His best friend, Kent Evans, was just as brilliant. He was a victim of risk, a totally random, tragic mountaineering accident. It just goes to show you that luck and risk are two sides of the very same coin. Not everything that happens is because of our own efforts.
And this leads to such a crucial point. Have you ever seen someone make a money decision and just thought, what on earth are they thinking? Well, Housel's argument is that nobody is actually crazy. Think about it. Someone who grew up poor during a recession is going to see risk completely differently than someone who grew up wealthy during a boom. Our own personal experiences create a lens through which we see the world, and our financial decisions make perfect sense through that lens, even if they look totally irrational to someone else. All right, let's talk about one of the biggest, most dangerous psychological traps in all of finance. This endless, exhausting pursuit of more. It's a game you can't win because the goalpost for what feels like enough is always moving. This is what Housel calls the man-in-the-car paradox, and it's brilliant. When we see someone driving a fancy car, we almost never think, wow, that person must be so cool. Nope. What we actually think is, man, I wish I had that car. We use other people's stuff as a yardstick for what we want, which just feels this never-ending cycle of desire.
And that is the absolute core of the problem. Social comparison is the thief of joy. The second you hit a financial milestone, you just look up and see the next rung on the ladder. The person making $500,000 a year compares themselves to the one making $5 million, and that person compares themselves to the billionaire. It's a game you just can't win because there is no finish line.
And don't for a second think this is just a problem for us regular folks. I mean, look at Rajat Gupta. He was the CEO of a massive company, worth over $100 million. But sitting on boards with billionaires, he felt poor. So he risked everything for more and ended up in prison. Same with Bernie Madoff. They both had enough, way more than enough. But they destroyed themselves by risking what they had and needed for something they absolutely did not have or need.
So if chasing more is a game that's rigged against you, what's the alternative? Well, the book offers a few incredibly powerful and kind of counterintuitive ideas about what real wealth actually is. This is honestly one of the most mind-blowing stats in the whole book. Over 90% of Warren Buffett's entire net worth was earned after his 65th birthday. Just let that sink in. His real superpower isn't just being a great investor, it's being a great investor for an unbelievably long time. That is the quiet magic of compounding. It starts small, but over decades it turns into an unstoppable force. This idea just flips our whole perception of wealth upside down. We're trained to think wealth is what we see, the fancy cars, the huge houses. But that's not wealth, that's spending. Real wealth is the money you don't see. It's the assets in an investment account, quietly growing in the background. Wealth is freedom, it's options, it's not flash.
And this is the ultimate point. The real purpose of money isn't buying more stuff, it's buying control over your time. The ability to wake up in the morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. That is the highest form of wealth there is. It's the freedom to choose what you do, when you do it, and who you do it with.
So how do we actually put all this into practice? The book doesn't give you a 5-step formula. Instead, it offers a set of timeless principles to help you build your own philosophy for money. So here are the big takeaways. First, stay humble. Remember that luck and risk are always part of the story. Second, aim to be reasonable, not ice-cold rational. A good plan you can actually stick with is way better than a perfect one you'll give up on. Always leave a margin for error, because life will surprise you. And maybe most importantly, play your own game. Stop looking at what everyone else is doing. And finally, save money just for the sake of saving. That cash gives you flexibility, options, and endurance when life throws you a curveball.
And that really leads us with one last question to chew on. We spend most of our lives trading our time for money. But what if we have it all backwards? What if the real goal, the true definition of being wealthy, is to use money to buy back our own time, to buy our freedom?